Welcome to a show today, and we are talking about why modern fitness standards clash with spiritual discipline. And this is an important subject for us to discuss because sometimes we fall into this trap because we live in the world where we're surrounded by worldly standards, by things that some somehow influence us to conform to the world in some ways. It's not that it's something that every believer and every Christian they also understand what it means to live in this world, and especially when it comes to like fitness and health. It's like, okay, but how do you know you're living a life where you're being fit and healthy, working out, training, and you're also still serving the kingdom and still living as a Christian? Because a lot of people sort of get carried away by the world because some of the things are fleeting, and there's sort of things that different people that influence us to believe certain standards are the standards that we need to live by in the world. And that is very common, especially when it comes to fitness, because it taps into that body image issue. Because right now with social media there is a crisis of body image. We've got a body image crisis, and you can consider this body dysmorphia. And a lot of people are misled. And also now, with more content that's generated by AI, people can do all sorts of things and promote all sorts of things and different standards. So, what you'll see, maybe you've already noticed, is that there is this trend where people sort of emulate certain body standards based on what they see on TV or what's promoted and what's said to be healthy, or what is being promoted by who. So these are the common things that happen. But we have to realize, what should we hold as a standard as Christians and as believers? Because that is very important. And that is what separates and sustains us in the long term. Because a lot of people get frustrated about their health, about their fitness, about their weight. They're not confident, they're not comfortable with how they look. So, we want to really understand, what is the relationship that we have to have with our bodies. And you have to pay attention, because if you've fallen into the trap where you look into the mirror and you're like, I look fat. Oh, I need to get on a diet. I need to go to the gym. That feeling is true. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It's true. But what standard are you using? What is the standard that you're using that is dictating how you feel? And when you actually start doing it, how do you know that you've arrived? How will you know that you've arrived? So this now comes into the mindset. What does that look like for you? And so today, what we're going to be talking about and focusing on is how we approach our fitness mentally and psychologically. How do we approach our fitness? How do we know when we're going too far? Is it okay for me to obsess about how my abs look or how lean I am? Those are things that we have to really understand as believers. Like, is it okay to be 5% body fat as a Christian? Can you be also posting pictures online showing other people how you look and setting a standard for people by showing that you're very lean? What is that? But before we get to that point, we have to understand why you're where you are right now. why you're measuring yourself with the standards of Instagram, the IG models, the influencers. We have to understand that first, because that frustration that you feel, that you're like, I'm not good enough, and you think that by working out more and more, you end up being good enough. That's what we need to really understand and figure out, like, okay, is that what you should be focused on? And is that what you, as a believer, as a Christian, should be concerned about? Because scripture also tells us, and scripture talks to us. It's already laid out everything that we need to understand. So today's show, today's episode, that's what we're going to focus on, to really break it down, to understand.